Have you ever found yourself, stuck, like falling into the same bad habits over and over, even when you know better?
Oh, absolutely. Or you see someone who just seems to like flip a switch and totally change their life.
Exactly. And you wonder what if there's actually a science to it, a kind of um, formula that can really help shift things? That's what we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. Such a fascinating book.
It really is.
It basically uncovers how these automatic behaviors, our habits, shape pretty much everything: our health, how productive we are, even our success. And we're not just talking theory here. We'll look at some really incredible real life stories, some groundbreaking research too. It reveals secrets for, using habits for good.
Yeah.
Whether you want to ditch a bad habit for good or build some powerful new routines, this should really shed some light.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it? How much habits steer the ship,
Yeah.
often completely under the radar. We'll be digging into the why behind that power.
Yeah.
What's happening in the brain and how people, even big companies, actually use this stuff to make changes happen. It's about understanding the gears so you can take the wheel.
Okay, let's start with the story that really hits home. Lisa Allen. When she was 34, her life was, well, it was tough.
Yeah, really tough.
She'd been struggling with drinking and smoking since she was like 16. Lifelong weight issues, buried in over 10 grand of debt, couldn't keep a job longer than a year. It's a pretty bleak picture.
But then researchers studying her later saw this completely different person.
Right.
Slim, fit, just radiating happiness, toned legs like she was a runner, looked, easily 10 years younger than her old photos.
Wow.
And she was debt-free, hadn't touched alcohol and cigarettes, and had held down a graphic design job for 3 years straight. The change was just stark.
It's almost unbelievable. She told the researchers she hadn't smoked in about 4 years, lost 60 pounds, ran a marathon. Yeah, started a master's degree, bought her own house. And it wasn't just her. The National Institute of Health was actually funding this study, looking at Lisa and like 23 other people with similar backgrounds. Alcoholics, chain smokers, people struggling with obesity, shopping addictions, all folks who somehow managed to break free really fast. So her life sounds like it really hit rock bottom. How does someone pull out of that kind of spiral? What triggers such a huge shift?
That's such a key question. Because hitting rock bottom isn't always enough, right?
Yeah.
It's what happens next.
Okay.
For Lisa, the big turning point was when her husband said he wanted a divorce. He'd fallen for someone else.
Devastating.
Totally. She was shattered, drank more, smoked more, got obsessed with, following them around. Then one night, drunk, she ends up at the girlfriend's house, yelling, banging on the door, threatening to burn the place down.
Right.
She said it was the worst day of her life.
Uh-huh.
Just feeling completely miserable and alone. That sharp, painful self-awareness, that feeling of defeat, that could be a powerful catalyst. But the real light bulb moment, the pivot, happened in Cairo, oddly enough.
Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah, she was there on a trip, totally jet-lagged, head-pounding, hotel room pitch black. She desperately needed a cigarette, fumbled around, lit what she thought was a Marlboro,
Oh,
and smelled burning plastic. She'd lit a pen.
no way.
Yeah, that tiny moment of just like utter failure, not even being able to light a cigarette right, that triggered something, a kind of breakdown that led to a breakthrough, you could say.
So what did she do after lighting a pen?
She got up, went out to the Sphinx and the pyramids, and standing there in the middle of the desert, she made this promise to herself. She'd come back the next year and do a trek across the desert.
That sounds ambitious, given where she was.
Completely.
Yeah.
Seemed crazy even to her. Overweight, no money, totally lost. But that goal, that promise, it gave her something to aim for, a purpose.
Right.
And that goal, that trek, became the first step. It's what helped her quit smoking. And this is so important, host. What Lisa kind of stumbled upon is what Duhigg calls a keystone habit.
Keystone habit.
Yeah, these aren't just any habits. They're the foundational ones.
Yeah.
You change a keystone habit, and it starts a chain reaction, triggering other positive changes automatically.
Like a domino effect.
Exactly. For Lisa, quitting smoking was the keystone. Once she focused on that, everything else started to shift over the next 6 months.
How so?
Well, she started jogging to deal with the smoking cravings. That led to eating healthier to manage binge eating. Then she started sleeping better, which made her more productive. She started saving money instead of spending it impulsively. It all connected back to that one initial change. And the researchers saw it physically, too. Brain scans showed her old negative pathways weakening and new, healthier ones forming. She literally rewired her brain.
Wow, rewired her brain. That's incredible.
It's a testament to neuroplasticity, really.
It really makes you think about how much of our day is just running on autopilot, things we don't even consciously decide to do.
Absolutely.
So how does this work inside our heads? Let's get into the science. We need to talk about Eugene Pauly, or EP, back in 1933.
That's right, 1933. An elderly man walked into a lab in San Diego. He'd had viral encephalitis.
Nasty virus.
Very. In his case, it basically destroyed parts of his brain tissue, left what doctors called an empty space near where the brain connects to the spinal column. He survived a coma, but his memory was gone.
Gone how?
Profoundly gone. Couldn't remember what happened yesterday or even an hour ago. Didn't recognize doctors he saw every day.
Yeah.
He'd like cook bacon and eggs, then 40 minutes later go back and cook them again, having totally forgotten.
Oh, man. And here's the really wild part, right? The paradox.
Exactly. Despite having almost no short-term memory, he could navigate his house perfectly. Knew where the kitchen was, the bathroom, could even go for walks around his neighborhood and always find his way home.
But he couldn't tell you how he did it.
Couldn't explain it at all. His case was huge because it showed that even when conscious memory is wiped out, habits stick around.
Habits stick around. Okay.
See, the brain has layers, like an onion. Deep inside, near the brainstem, are these older, more primitive structures. They handle automatic stuff, breathing, swallowing, and, as it turns out, habits. And the specific spot, scientists figured out, is this golf ball-sized bit of tissue called the basal ganglia, right in the center of your skull.
Basal ganglia.
Okay, that's where habits live. And the brain forms habits, essentially, to save energy. It loves efficiency. So it turns routines, walking, brushing your teeth, driving a familiar route into automatic sequences. Frees up your thinking brain for harder stuff. It's your brain's autopilot.
Autopilot. I like that. It makes so much sense. So if the basal ganglia is running the show for habits, how does it actually create one? This leads us to the core idea in the book, right? The habit loop.
Yes, the habit loop, it's elegantly simple, really. 3 parts: cue, routine, reward.
Okay, break those down for us.
Sure, the cue is the trigger, the thing that tells your brain, okay, time to run this program. Could be a time of day, a location, an emotion, another person.
Got it. Trigger.
Then comes the routine. That's the behavior itself, the action you take, the habit, good or bad, doesn't matter, it's the thing you do.
The action. Okay.
And finally, the reward. This is the payoff. The good feeling, the satisfaction, the relief, whatever it is that tells your brain, hey, that worked. Remember this loop for next time. It cements the habit.
Cue, routine, reward. Simple. And there was that MIT experiment with rats that showed this perfectly, right? Back in the 90s.
That's the classic one. Yeah, they put rats in a T-shaped maze, a piece of chocolate at one end.
The reward.
Exactly. And they put tiny wires in the rats' brains to watch what was happening, specifically in the basal ganglia.
So what did they see?
Well, at first, when a click sounded that was the cue, the rats would wander all over the maze, sniffing, scratching, exploring. Their basal ganglia were firing like crazy, processing all the new information.
Makes sense.
But after they'd done it a bunch of times, something changed. The rats stopped wandering. As soon as they heard the click, they just zipped right down the maze to the chocolate.
Straight to the reward.
Straight to the reward. And crucially, the brain scans showed their basal ganglia activity went way down during the run. It was like the brain had stored the pattern cue. Click, routine, run the maze, reward, chocolate, and put it on autopilot. Less thinking needed. Energy saved.
It just clicked into gear.
Precisely. The habit was formed. Automatic.
Okay, so this is fascinating science, but what does it mean for, us, for people listening? How do we actually use this habit loop knowledge to break bad habits we hate and maybe build some good ones?
Right, the practical application.
Yeah.
The core strategy, and this is key,
Yeah.
is you usually can't just eliminate a bad habit. You have to replace it.
Replace it.
Yeah. You keep the cue the same, you keep the reward the same, but you consciously insert a different routine in the middle. You hijack the existing loop.
Okay, give me an example. Let's make it concrete.
Sure. Let's say your bad habit is mindless internet browsing when you get home from work. The cue is walking in the door. The reward you're seeking is probably relaxation or distraction.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
So instead of trying to just stop browsing, you keep the cue, coming home, and the reward, feeling relaxing, distracted. But you change the routine. Maybe the new routine is walk in, immediately change into workout clothes, go for a quick jog.
Ah, so the jog becomes the new routine.
Exactly. And then afterward, you give yourself a different kind of reward that still satisfies that need for relaxation, maybe a healthy smoothie, listening to music, whatever works for you. Same cue, same type of reward, different routine.
Got it. Keep the start and end, swap them. Makes sense. Now let's talk about another really powerful story, Travis Leach. His background was incredibly tough.
It's just heartbreaking, really. Parents addicted to drugs. He'd find them passed out. Saw his dad overdose on heroin when he was just 9.
9 years old.
Yeah. Got bullied relentlessly, dropped out of high school at 16. Just imagine carrying that weight.
So how did he cope entering the workforce? Must have been hard.
Extremely. He'd lose his temper easily with customers, sometimes break down crying during a shift, often late, missed work. He tried so hard to act normal, even practiced talking to himself in the mirror, but he really struggled socially. His checkout line would back up, he'd get anxious.
It was a real struggle.
So what changed for him? How did he turn it around?
It started with a small interaction. A regular customer at the Hollywood Video where he worked, who happened to be an assistant manager at a new Starbucks opening nearby, suggested he apply, offered to help him get an interview.
Just a chance encounter.
Seems like it. And within a month, Travis was working the morning shift as a barista at Starbucks.
And the transformation was significant.
Oh, absolutely remarkable. Fast forward a bit, by age 25, Travis is managing 2 Starbucks stores, supervising 40 people, bringing in $2 million a year for the company.
Earning $44,000 himself. Never late, doesn't miss shifts, and totally in control of his emotions. He even shared this story about calming down an employee who got yelled at, saying, "Your apron is like a shield, you're strong behind it." That kind of emotional intelligence, given where he came from. It's incredible.
So what was the secret? Was it just the job itself? Or something more?
It was something more. Starbucks, as a company, understood something crucial. Willpower and self-discipline are like muscles. They can be trained.
Oh, okay.
They invested millions in training programs that taught employees like Travis not just how to froth milk, but life skills. How to focus, how to manage stress, how to handle difficult emotions. For many, this training itself became a keystone habit.
That ties back perfectly to Lisa Allen. So Starbucks was deliberately installing keystone habits. Can you give an example of how they did that? Like a specific routine they taught?
Definitely. They have these detailed manuals for handling tricky situations, like dealing with an angry customer. They teach the LATTE method.
LATTE, like the drink.
Exactly. Easy to remember. It stands for listen to the customer, acknowledge their complaint, take action to solve the problem, like remaking the drink, thank the customer, and then explain why the mistake occurred, if appropriate.
Listen, acknowledge, take action, thank, explain, LATTE.
Right. It's not just advice, it's a drilled-in routine, a habit. So when that stressful situation, the cue happens, employees have an automatic constructive routine to fall back on, leading to a better outcome. The reward, a calmer customer feeling competent. It turns potential chaos into a manageable process.
That's brilliant. They're literally building habits for handling stress and conflict.
Precisely. Building emotional regulation habits.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've seen Lisa Allen completely remake her life by latching onto one keystone habit. We saw Eugene Pauly navigate the world through ingrained habits even without memory. And Travis Leach's incredible turnaround, powered by deliberately installed routines for self-discipline taught by Starbucks.
Yeah, the common thread is undeniable. Habits are profoundly powerful. They shape so much of our lives, often without us even noticing. But and this is the really empowering part, we can change them. We have that power.
Right.
Understanding that habit loop cue, routine reward, and identifying those crucial keystone habits, that's the roadmap. It gives you the tools to consciously design the habits you want.
Absolutely. So the question for everyone listening is, what habits do you want to change? What's holding you back? And what new routine could you start, maybe even today? Because it doesn't have to be some monumental shift overnight. Remember, Lisa, it started with one decision, one promise, small, consistent changes, guided by understanding this loop, identifying those keystones. That's what leads to those massive transformations over time. So think about it. What's one small thing you could tweak today that might just change everything down the line?